Good day. I am Maria Sofia Islit, a Bethel Ed major in Industrial Art student, and I will discuss to you the technology enhanced lesson using Assure as technology integrated model. Assure model in teaching. The Assure model is an instructional system or guideline that teachers can use to develop lesson plans which integrate the use of technology and media. It is an instructional system design process that was modified to be used by teachers in the regular classroom. It was modified by Smaldino, Lotter, and Russell in 2008 and was created by Hinich and Melinda in 1999. Assure model places the focus on the learner and the overall outcome of accomplishing learning objectives. It has a goal of producing more effective teaching and learning. Assure model has 6 important components. Assure is an acronym that stands for the components in the model. A stands for Analyze Learners. S. State objectives. S. Select media and materials. U stands for Utilize media and materials. R. Require learner participation. And lastly, E stands for Evaluate and Revise. Analyzing learners is the crucial first component in the Assure model of instructional design. It involves gathering essential information about the students. The goal is to tailor your teaching approach to their specific needs, abilities, and characteristics. Learners is the center of instructional process. Every learner has a different learning style. For instance, there are students who are good at writing poems, dancing, and interacting with other people. General attributes of the learners, such as age, academic abilities, interests, gender, and etc. And then the prior competencies, their strengths and weaknesses and skills. It is very important to know our students so that you can design and implement instructional strategies that are better suited to their individual and collective needs. Hence, it would lead to a more effective and engaging learning experience. The second component of Assure model is State Objective. It is the main instruction guide that will direct the flow to reach the target. It is also known as learning outcomes expected of the lesson. And the statement describes what the learner will be able to perform as a result of the instruction. Learning objectives are essential because they define what you want your students to achieve by the end of the lesson. Learning outcomes should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Specific objectives should be clear and concise. Specify exactly what the students will learn or be able to do. Sample. By the end of this lesson, students will be able to identify and describe the main components or the 6 components of the Assure model. Measurable. Objectives should be quantifiable so that you can assess whether students have met them. Use action verbs that describe observable behaviors. Our learning outcomes should be achievable. Objectives should be realistic and attainable within a given time frame and resources. Ensure that they are challenging but not unattainable. Next is relevant. Objectives should be relevant to the overall learning goals and curriculum. They should align with the content and context of the lesson. And lastly, time-bound. Objectives should have a specific time frame or deadline. This helps in planning and pacing the lesson. Stating clear objectives not only guides your teaching but also provides a clear direction for your students. It allows both you and your learners to measure progress and success. Also, when objectives are transparent, students can better understand the purpose of the lesson and stay focused on what they need to achieve. The third component in the Assure model is to select media and materials. Selecting appropriate way of delivering the lesson and using the applicable media or technology can effectively make learners acquire understanding of lesson or gain the competence desired. This component involves choosing the tools and resources that will best support the learning process. Identify the types of media that can enhance your instruction. Media can include digital resources such as videos, website, simulation, and print materials such as textbooks, handouts, or any other visuals that aid learning. Select media that are relevant to your content and appeal to the learning styles of your students. Ensure that the media you choose are accessible and can be effectively integrated into your teaching. Consider the materials needed to support your instructional activities. Ensure that materials are age appropriate and accessible to all learners. Check the availability and functionality of materials before the lesson to avoid disruption. When selecting media and materials, it's important to keep the learner's needs and the learning objectives in mind. The choices you make should align with your goals and enhance the learning experience. The fourth component in the Assure model is to effectively utilize the media and materials in your instructional plan. The teacher decides which part of the instructional flow will a particular materials or technology be employed, and the manner on how it will be more effective to achieve the learning outcome. Ensure that the technology and media you select align with your stated learning objectives. Integrate technology and media smoothly into your lesson plan. They should complement your teaching methods and enhance the learning experience and not distract from it. Offer clear instruction on how students should use the technology or media. If it's a new tool or platform, consider providing a tutorial or brief training to ensure all students can use it effectively. Also, ensure that the technology and media are accessible to all students, including those with disabilities. Before the lesson, test the technology and media to make sure everything works smoothly. Technical glitches can disrupt the learning process. During the lesson, actively monitor how students are engaging with the technology and media. Be ready to provide support and guidance as needed. Use technology and media to foster student interaction, collaboration, and participation. After the lesson, reflect on how effectively the technology and media were utilized. Gather feedback from students and be prepared to make adjustments for future lessons. The fifth component in the Assure model is to require learner participation, which is crucial for engaging students actively in the learning process. The learners have to be made to understand their role in taking accountability of their own learning. Encouraging active participation helps students internalize and apply the knowledge or skills being taught. Facilitate discussions and group activities that encourage students to share their thoughts, ask questions, and engage in meaningful conversations related to the lesson topic. Incorporate hands-on activities, experiments, or projects that require students to apply what they've learned in a practical context. Promote peer teaching and collaboration by assigning group projects or activities that require students to work together to solve problems or complete tasks. Use open-ended questions to stimulate critical thinking and class participation, and foster a classroom environment where students feel comfortable expressing their ideas without fear of criticism. Encourage inclusivity and respect for diverse perspectives. Active participation also allows you to assess their understanding and adjust your teaching accordingly. The last component in the Assure model is to evaluate and revise your instructional plan. Assessing learners' performance can take place across phases of lesson. Evaluation should be congruent to the learning outcome of the lesson. This component is crucial for ensuring that your teaching methods, technology, and materials are effective in achieving the desired learning outcome. Collecting feedback from students can provide insights into their learning experiences. Use formative assessment methods such as quizzes, discussions, observations, and etc. to determine how well students are progressing toward the learning objectives during the lesson. Reflect on your observations of the class during the lesson. Did students seem engaged and actively participating? Were there any challenges or issues that arose? Analyze any data or assessment results to identify areas where students may be struggling or where your instructional plan may need improvement. Evaluate how well technology and media were utilized during the lesson. Compare the actual outcomes with the learning objectives you initially set. Did the students meet the objectives, or were there gaps in their understanding? Identify the strengths of your instructional plan as well as areas that need improvement. Acknowledge what worked well and what could be enhanced. Based on your analysis and feedback, make necessary revisions to your instructional plan. If you identify areas where you need further expertise or skills, consider seeking professional development or training to enhance your teaching methods. Continue to assess and gather feedback on the revised instruction to monitor its effectiveness and make further adjustments as needed. The process of evaluation and revision is iterative and ongoing. It ensures that your teaching remains responsive to the needs of your students and that your instructional methods evolve to promote better learning outcomes. Thank you all for listening.